So basically, I'm terrified for today's video for no good reason. Today, I'm learning how to direct solder my motor wires on my Air 65 Freestyle. Somebody tell me why I'm scared to do this. I don't know. I'm new to FPV, almost 3 months in now. There is so much that I don't know, and I'm totally okay with that because I'm learning and sharing with you guys as I go. And today, that's exactly what I want to do with direct soldering your motor wires. Most FPV pilots will say it's the easiest thing in the world. I'm no professional. For me, who's never done it, this is the most intimidating thing in the world. And I know there's a lot of pilots out there that are in the same exact position as me. In this video, I'll be going through my very first time soldering these motor wires and showing you exactly how I do it. And we'll see how it turns out. If it turns out well enough, you can use this as a tutorial video. If you follow along with my channel at all, it wasn't that long ago that I actually learned how to solder for the first time. I literally have a board with 6 wires soldered onto it. That is my soldering experience. Obviously, in the weeks since I made this video, I have not soldered, and I keep breaking things on my drone, but none of it is something that has to be soldered. But today that is going to change. Now, if you're not familiar with tinywhoops, a lot of them have motors that have connectors on the end that go straight into the board. There's a lot of pros to this. This makes the motor super easy to replace. And that's actually the only pro to it, pretty much. Now let's talk about the pros of direct soldering the wire. On tiny drones like this, even a fraction of a gram can change how long it can fly and how fast it can fly. So removing these little connectors and replacing it with just solder actually shaves off a little bit of weight. A big reason is actually reducing the chance of bad connection. Instead of the drone sending a direct signal to the motors telling it how fast to spin and when, it has to go through this buffer, which is the connector. Now, generally, this shouldn't cause you a problem, but sometimes if the connector is not in solid or it wiggles, there can be a break in the current and cause your drone to fall out of the sky or stutter while you're flying. Then lastly, there's this thing called battery sag. From what I understand as a beginner FPV pilot still, battery sag, if you notice, when you fly and punch the throttle pretty hard, you'll see the voltage of your battery drop really low. That drop is the battery sag. And actually, direct soldering your motor wires should decrease what that drop is. There are, of course, cons about direct soldering your motor wire. The biggest is replacing the motors takes a lot more work now. Now, if you have a motor issue, you have to desolder the current motor and resolder on a new one, which is a lot more time consuming. So for a beginner, the connectors on these tinywhoops are actually a huge dub. But since I'm trying to learn as much as I can about FPV, I'm gonna try to beat it to the punch and just direct solder right now. Let's hop over to the bench and I'll show you exactly what I'm using to complete this job. This is everything we're gonna need to direct solder our motor wire. First off is the drone, obviously. Second, we need some sort of screwdriver. I got this cool electric one off of AliExpress and I love it. I have a little pin to pop off the video antenna, or just use your fingers and that's fine. And lastly, for taking apart the drone, I'll show you how to take off the props with just your hands and a prop puller. For the actual solder job, we're gonna want several things. Number one is we have helping hands here. This will help us hold the board and the motors up in the air to give us access to both of our hands to solder. This is a 3D printed version. The board sits on here and the motors sit in these grooves. We'll see which one I end up using. Next up is wire cutters, because we will be cutting the connector off the motor wires. We have solder and flux. I use the recommended solder from Joshua Bardwell. That's the Kester 44 6337.031 inch solder wire. And then this is also recommended from him, and it's a flux pen. Copper to clean off our soldering iron tip. And now you're probably wondering what this is. This got sent to me by my friends at FNIRSI. This is their HS03 soldering iron. I just want to make it clear that they did send this to me for free, but I'm not getting paid to make a video about this. We're just gonna test it out and see how we like it. If you do happen to think this is cool though, I'll be leaving a link to the Amazon storefront down in the description and the comment section. Now, the cool thing about this HS03 soldering iron is it comes in this case, first of all, so it's ready for travel. And second of all, it is completely cordless, which means this is perfect for on-the-go soldering if you're out flying and break something. And I can't forget, if you wanna be a safe solderer, get yourself a fume extractor. So step number one is taking our little drone apart. We'll do that by unscrewing these 4 screws around the canopy. Now there's 2 cables we kind of want to take off. We have the video antenna and the camera. The camera is a plug-in connector right here. Give it a little yank. The video antenna is held on by this little guy. I normally get this little wedge and just pop it off this way. Now we're gonna set this off to the side. Next, I wanna take off the props. Using just your hands, I just give it a really tight grip down here to keep the bell from moving around, kind of like that. Other fingers come up here and you just kind of pull and twist back and forth. And it kind of hurts, not gonna lie, but it eventually pops off. That's a little hard. We have this prop puller, which is cool. It just slides in, push it under like that. It inserts the pin onto the top of the shaft and pops off like that. So we'll go ahead and do that for all of them. Now that we have all the props off, all we have to do is take the motors off of the frame, and we'll do that by unscrewing these 3 screws on each motor and then unplugging it from the board. Great, now that we have all the screws gone and the motors are kind of dangling there, we can pull them out and honestly just give them a little tug. All right, we have all of our motors sitting right here. At this point, we can just push up on the board and it'll pop off of these little holders. And there we got it, the Betafpv AIO board with connectors still. Do not get attached to those because we are taking them off. What I recommend, we have a lot of little stuff right here. I have this little Ziploc bag. I'm gonna throw all the little screws and props in there just so we don't accidentally lose them. Can go ahead and set that off to the side. All we need is the board and the motors now. First, we need to take off these connectors. Now, I've seen online some people just take a pair of pliers and rip them off, but there's a better, more secure way of doing that, and that's desoldering it. If you can see, these motor connectors go through the board to these 3 dots. These are the pins of the harness, I guess, and they're soldered on just barely right there to keep them in. We're basically gonna heat up these pins right here and then pull this through, and that'll prevent us from accidentally breaking something we don't wanna break. It's extremely hard to film something this small in a good way, so show your love, Venmo me. No, I'm just kidding, this is free entertainment. I apologize in advance if you can't hear me because of that fan, but I value my lungs greatly. We do not want to forget to flux this, so we're gonna tin the tip first, add some solder to the top of this. I'm doing so bad right now, holy crap. Okay, this is the worst. I don't really know how I'm supposed to pull on the connector with one hand and heat it up with the other when these helping hands don't actually really do jack, honestly. Okay team, I gave up filming for the first one because stupid helping hands kept moving and it was pissing me off. Check it out, got it off. The pins are still there. Yeah, those were supposed to come off with the connector, I think. These helping hands are dog water. I'm gonna cuss somebody out. I don't know who because there's nobody else here, but oh, I broke one of them off. There, we're good. These are the 3 pads that we'll be soldering to directly. All right, just because I'm kind of pissed about how that one went, I'm just gonna try and rip out the next one. That was so easy. Okay, I low-key feel like I'm breaking this board as we speak. I successfully took off that second connector with just these bad boys. That's very dangerous though, because yanking these little connectors off can pull this pad off, and that is not a good thing, but I am going to tempt my fate. Oh, great. That took out 2 of the pins with it. Now I just have to take off 1 more. Woo! Oh, that one was so easy. You guys do what you want, desolder or pry, but do not blame me if it goes wrong. All right, can you see my perspiration on the board? That's my thumb sweating like crazy because this is stressing me the freak out. I basically completely forgot we actually need to prep the motors. All of them have this connector on the back. We're just gonna clip it right off right there. We're going right here, clip. There's one. So now what we need to do, we need to strip just barely the ends of these wires. I think you can just use your fingernails. Yeah, look at that. So do we see that little shiny bit right there? That's what we're working with. Yeah, these wires are so small, that's really all you need. All right, we're gonna do that on all of them now. Number 4, all right, there's our graveyard. We're gonna go ahead and flux just the ends. Let's just do the ends of all of these while I'm thinking about it so I don't forget. Have I told you that I'm stressed yet? Holy crap. Put some flux on and... All right, we'll do the other 2. There we go, you can't really see that well, but those are tinned now. I'm super happy to report that that part was not hard at all. None of this is hard. It's just, I'm a wimp. I'm gonna set up our next one and do the same exact thing. All right, and that is all 4 motors done and tinned, but that's all ready. So we're gonna go ahead and move to tinning and prepping the AIO. So we are soldering onto these 3 pads, these 3 pads, these 3 pads, and those 3 pads. We're gonna go ahead and flux up all of them right now, just so I don't forget. And we're gonna go in and tin each one of these pads and prep them for the motor wires. All right, the reason it's balling up like this is because I'm putting the solder on the tip instead of the pad, which I know that's an issue, and I was doing it anyways. But we'll see if we can't clean it up a little bit, and then move on to the next ones and do a little bit better next time. Oh, fuss, they're touching. Yeah, we're good. I don't think they're touching anymore. All right. 2 other sides. As you noticed, the fan is off. I think I'm gonna take lung cancer over the overstimulation that the sound of it is giving me. All right, there we have it. Fully tinned pad. They're pretty bad, but they just might do the trick. I totally forgot to mention, you'll probably want some tweezers also for this. And we wanna make sure we flux everything again. And I left my wires kind of separated, left, middle, right. I'm just gonna do exactly that back into here. Great, it's pretty trash, but I think it'll work. Woo! So there's motor number 1 all soldered up. They're staying when I touch the wire, so I guess I did it. And none of them are touching, it looks like. Wake up, mom, new angle dropped, let's go. Do you know what I just did? This is a finished direct solder job right here. So now what we get to do is plug this into Betaflight, find out if the motors are facing the right directions or not. Real quick, we're gonna bind it to our controller. I think this is the next step. I haven't really thought this far. Holy crap, okay. I shouldn't have done that. How am I supposed to test this? What do I do? And I'm actually just gonna put the drone back together so it's all not gonna run away on me when I test the motors. Obviously they all work, so I'm not worried about having to take it back apart necessarily. We're gonna reassemble this the exact same way we disassembled it. Time to test on Betaflight, I suppose. I've never tested my motors on Betaflight before, so this is new to me. Future Alec editing this video right now. If you are following along and testing your drone on Betaflight or plugging it in any way while it's broken down, put in the VTX antenna. Not putting this antenna back on the board before you power it up is super bad for your drone. Your drone is trying to send out a VTX signal out somewhere, but it has nowhere to send it, so it's just gonna heat up your board and fry it. I'm extremely lucky that this didn't happen to me. You'll see through the rest of the video I didn't put it on, but if you're following along, plug in the antenna. Back to the video. First of all, Joshua Bardwell, you're amazing. Betaflight 4.3 motors tab, complete walkthrough. I had no idea how to use the motors tab until right now. We'll verify we are on pit mode. This is what I forgot. We need to plug in a battery, and we're gonna scroll this up. See, this one's not spinning at all, actually. It stutters. Okay, so we need to figure that out. That sucks. Which one is that? Well, it's motor number 1. Let's do some troubleshooting.
1 hour later.
All right, update. So I swapped motors and this one still wasn't spinning. And this was one that was working from over here and I swapped them. The solder joint honestly looks fine. There's nothing wrong with it. Look up here. If you remember the beginning of the video, I tried desoldering from the top before I just started pulling out the rest of them. Check that out. They're connected at the top. I'm gonna pull that solder off. We'll retest. All right, you guys, we are back for the test. And we're keeping an eye on this back right motor / motor number 1 right here. I was just testing it and this R was capping out at 300 while the rest were going to like 12 or 1300. Go ahead and yes, woo! It works. Yes! Oh my gosh, that is a relief. Holy moly. So now we just need to make sure all the motors are in the right order. My motor direction's wrong, I think. First of all, I want it inward motor direction. Agreed. I'm gonna do individual just for fun. This is spinning the wrong way. All right, that is correct now. Number 2 motor, this is spinning inwards, so we're good there. Yeah, that is spinning the right way. is spinning the wrong way. So we're gonna reverse that. All right, we should be in the right order now, I believe. I'm going away from the desk, hold on. All right, something's amiss. Prop direction, correct. I did not reset one of my motors, I'm pretty sure. I think one of them's going the wrong way. I'll just figure it out real quick. All right, new moment of truth. This front right motor was going the wrong way. We got it, let's go. It's flying. Guys, 5 hours is how long that took. We'll call it 4 hours. This is from start to finish. Intro of the video, taking apart the drone, prepping the motors, soldering, retaking apart the drone and putting it back together 3 times. We did it. Direct soldered motors, baby. Thank you so much for watching. This was a learning experience. I didn't need to do this, but I want to learn everything there is about FPV. That was painful, but I don't regret it. And this is not to scare anybody out of attempting this. I set myself up for failure because the issue that I was dealing with was a soldering mistake up here at the top. So if you're new to FPV, like me, do not be scared. I just figured that out. You can figure that out. It took me a really long time, but you got this. Let me know if you have questions. Go watch Joshua Bardwell. Amen.